This sounds like political presidential talk to me, and I know people have talked to you about whether or not you want to run. Would you ever?
Probably not, but I do get tired of seeing the country ripped off.
Why would you not?
I just don't think I really have the inclination to do it. I love what I'm doing. I really like it.
Also, it doesn't pay as well.
No, it doesn't. But, I just probably wouldn't do it, Oprah. I probably wouldn't, but I do get tired of seeing what's happening with this country. And if it got so bad, I would never want to rule it out totally, because I really am tired of seeing what's happening with this country, how we're really making other people live like kings, and we're not.
Mr. Trump, you've done great things in your life, and I just wonder, how do I, as an average person, begin?
Well, first of all, never think of yourself as average. You started off with the wrong question, because you're not average. You've got a lot going. I see you're smart. I see you're very beautiful. And you're right against Erin. Look how beautiful she is. But, I don't see any difference. You have to tell yourself that you just have to get that word average out of your vocabulary. And you have to tell yourself that you're great. And you have to believe it. If you can say it and don't believe it, it doesn't matter. So just go out there and work hard.
You've said, though, that if you did run for president, you believe you'd win.
Well, I don't know. I think I'd win. I tell you what, I wouldn't go in to lose. I've never gone in to lose in my life. And if I did decide to do it, I think I'd be inclined. I would say that I would have a hell of a chance of winning, because I think people, I don't know how your audience feels, but I think people are tired of seeing the United States ripped off. And I can't promise you everything, but I can tell you one thing. This country would make one hell of a lot of money from those people that for 25 years have taken advantage. It wouldn't be the way it's been, believe me.
Thanks to you, we'll have a president of the United States who will make appointments to the highest court in the land, that will uphold the sanctity of life, our Second Amendment, and all the God-given liberties enshrined in the Constitution of the United States. Thanks to you.
With your votes, the great citizens of this country declare to the world that from now on, it's going to be America first. America first. The script is not yet written. We do not know what the page will read tomorrow. But for the first time in a long time, what we do know is that the pages will be authored by each and every one of you. You, the incredible American people, will be in charge. Your voice, your desires, your hopes, your aspirations will never again fall on deaf ears. The forgotten men and women, by the way, they're not so forgotten anymore, are they? There is nothing we cannot do. No task is too great, no dream too large, no goal beyond our reach. My message tonight is for all Americans, from all parties, all beliefs, all races, all walks of life. Whether you are African American, Hispanic American, Asian American, we are all Americans, and we are all united by one shared destiny. So I'm asking everyone to join this incredible movement. I'm asking you to dream big again, dream big and bold and daring, for your families, for yourself, for your country, big and bold and daring. I'm asking you to believe in yourself, and I'm asking you to believe once again in America. Your voice, your hopes, and your dreams will define our American destiny. And your courage and goodness and love will forever guide us along the way. Together, we will make America strong again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And yes, together, we will make America great again. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help me God.
Indeed, he promised and he delivered, promises made and promises kept. This president is the last president that this nation will ever see that is for the people. And it's not over yet. That changes later. But for now, we must remember why we chose President Trump. Because he wasn't selected. He was hated by both the right and the left. He was hated by almost every nation on the planet because he was about to bust open the floodgates of information. And he did this in a very subtle way. So today, rather than me allow myself to feel the frustration and resonate it, I thought I could teach you the tools so you can understand it better. So the first thing I wanted us to talk about is what is the meaning of the word usurper, right? What is the meaning? Because I've talked about it with the quo warrantos and the demands, but it simply is applicable outside of government too. Usurper, one who wrongfully or illegally seizes and holds the place of another. I guess a fake it till you make it, or a steal it, or has done so in an erroneous fashion. Usurper. 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 So many people can usurp positions, and those can be crafted positions, seats of authority, or they create them. For example, I thought we could talk a little bit about psychology, and the powers of influence. But to tell you that, I need to mention the first thing that you can do without even seeing a person, okay? You don't need to see a person. You can hear a person. And you can understand when they're deceiving you. Okay? You can understand when someone is deceiving you simply by their words. I've mentioned this many a times, that definitions matter, words matter. And aside from being in tune with frequency to understand the underlying intention of the word used, right? You must understand how they deceive. The first and utter foremost way of someone who is attempting to deceive you, they will use referrals. They will refer to other people's authority, other people's statements. I mean, just like you, if you're looking to see what to do, you have given some, for example, you go to your doctor and you're sick. And the doctor's like, all right, you're going to take this medicine 3 times a day. And you vested the authority to the doctor based on his credentials, that he is there to help you answer questions about your health. Therefore, you have given him that authority. The authority comes in all forms and fashions. From your health, where you give authority, education, where you garner your information, what do you use as a search engine? You've given it authority. Words matter. So I thought I'd play this clip. This is from a former officer. I want you to listen to this carefully, okay?
For whatever reason, you didn't have the time, you just didn't want to be bothered with it, or you wanted a shortcut. You wanted the one thing that supersedes them all. You would go with authority.
So this is talking about influencers and how they influence people. So people that have no idea what they're talking about, or just want to jump into the game, or they feel like they've been self-appointed, or they're self-appointed because they know, or they have been tasked and need to mask the fact that they have been tasked, then the one thing they go for in order to garner influence over the masses is authority.
Because with authority, by simply having authority or being perceived as an authority, people are going to listen to and trust what you have to say. Look at celebrities. Some celebrities could be an expert in one area, yet you see them doing commercials for something completely unrelated to what they're a known expert in. It doesn't matter. Once you have authority, people believe that you have this magical type of aura about you, and they will listen to what you have to say. So the question then becomes, how do you engineer authority? How do you become an authority on whatever it is that you're selling, pitching, influencing, persuading, or communicating to other people? Well, I've discovered a 4-stage process. After 15 years of studying human communication, psychology, NLP, influence, persuasion, and studying politicians, public figures, public speakers, social media icons, high-level entrepreneurs, I've identified a 4-stage process that they go through to create authority. And so the 4-stage process works like this. The first thing you have to do is set the frame. So you have to take certain necessary steps for people to perceive you as an authority before they even interact with you. And that's very important. The second thing that you have to do is you have to engineer power, because all authority figures have power in one way or another. And the good news is that you can start with 0 power, and you can use something called an active transfer of power, where you can leverage somebody else's credibility or somebody else's power to make you more powerful. Or you could use what we call implied transfers of power, which are just like testimonials or written or spoken word from people that have done business with you before or have listened to you before, and as a result, have had something positive happen to them. The next step is you need to become the alpha. And so what that means is, it doesn't mean that you have to be loud and abrasive and bark at people like I do. What it means is that you just have to be that person that assumes the leadership role, that person that other people follow. At the end of the day, there are leaders and there are followers, and authorities are leaders. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to be an alpha all the time. It doesn't mean that you have to be an alpha in everything that you do, because I want you to realize something. Whether you realize it or not, you assume a different role in different areas of your life anyway. So think about that. You don't converse the same way with your high school buddies that you do with your boss. You don't talk to people the same way at a funeral that you do at a wedding. And if you do, you have very poor communication skills. So hopefully you know the difference between the two. There's a difference. Things like context and environment and social status impact the way that we communicate and the way that we carry ourselves around other people. Well, if you are selling a product, a service, an opinion, an idea, and you want to generate authority, you need to become the alpha in that area of your life. And there are different ways that you can do that, but you need to do it. And then the last thing, the last stage, is speaking the language, speaking like an authority, communicating like an authority. The way that you speak, the way that you convey your message is ultra important when it comes to being an authority. You can't stutter step. You can't use vocal fillers like ooh, ah. You can't do things like that. You have to speak with confidence, and you have to know what you're talking about, because the minute people sense that you don't, all your credibility goes out the window. So again, the 4-stage process, very simple. Set the frame, engineer power, become the alpha, and then speak the language.
So this is what I like to coin as circle jerking. So this is what they do. They all create a team. They're all leaders in their own. They take hold of one narrative, and then they all complement each other, all of them. And you know what the problem is that people that operate in such fashions, when they grow their clique to be solid and they expand to introduce new members of the circle, they devour others. Once they're useless, they devour them and spit them out and bring more. Useless, devour, spit, and bring more. And this growth of this devouring of previous assets they used to bolster themselves can actually influence people that actually have authority. Because no human is, how do I say this? not susceptible to influence. There we go. And this is why I referred to many times for you to watch certain shows that may give you some insight on how this happens. It's pretty much reality hacking, or like some places call it brain hacking, influence operations, IIA, you name it. It's just a psychological operation, basically. Okay. And it is deployed on all levels. Sometimes it's done for what they consider good, but it's never good. The only way to defeat this monster, this fog of war of information, is to pretty much dispel it with the truth.
60 Minutes, Rewind.
Have you ever wondered if all those people you see staring intently at their smartphones nearly everywhere and at all times are addicted to them? According to a former Google product manager you're about to hear from, Silicon Valley is engineering your phone, apps, and social media to get you hooked. He's one of the few tech insiders to publicly acknowledge that the companies responsible for programming your phones are working hard to get you and your family to feel the need to check in constantly. Some programmers call it brain hacking, and the tech world would probably prefer you didn't hear about it. But Tristan Harris openly questions the long-term consequences of it all, and we think it's worth putting down your phone to listen.
This thing is a slot machine.
How's that a slot machine?
Well, every time I check my phone, I'm playing the slot machine to see what did I get. This is one way to hijack people's minds, create a habit, to form a habit. What you do is you make it so when someone pulls a lever, sometimes they get a reward, an exciting reward. And it turns out that this design technique can be embedded inside of all these products.
The rewards Harris is talking about are a big part of what makes smartphones so appealing. The chance of getting likes on Facebook and Instagram, cute emojis in text messages, and new followers on Twitter.
There's a whole playbook of techniques that get used to get you using the product for as long as possible.
So this is how they recruited influencers into their domain. They wanted to see who could play the game right. And this is what I called Operation Gridlock, where people were getting high off of the fact that they were getting followers, right? That's all they were doing. And the more followers they got, more people would follow them. And then they would completely embrace that. You know, those Trump train things. Oh, follow all these patriots, Trump train, Trump train. That was exactly what they used on people. This is why we have sections that tell you, you know, the hashtags. This is what you need to look at in your area. This is trending here. Take a look. This is what is most popular in things that you like. Take a look. This is, they completed this operation perfectly. Listen to this. And obviously you see that it's Anderson Cooper doing this, right? And you're just like, this is nuts. Why would they out the way that they're hijacking the minds? I'll tell you why. Because they were busy while you were asleep creating laws in order to use them against you. So while you were distracted with BLM, both Black Lives Matter and Blue Lives Matter, which were created by the same organization, okay, by the same organization, you were distracted. They were making laws. They were changing your voting laws. They were changing the laws in general. They were trying to push digital currency. They were hitting you on so many fronts. You had no idea what to look for. And instead, they had you focusing on an operation that was taken completely out of control by a bunch of people that were recruited by the other side by feeding the monster, giving them followers. I mean, where are they now? See, this is the key to everything, because today you're going to see the law they made and how they're going to use that against you. I mean, I had reference that they were doing this when I was talking about Adam Schiff. I'm comfortable with not spelling things out, there's no point to, that puts an even bigger target on your back and silences you a lot faster. I also told you that all these losers, gathering money to do a lawsuit against Twitter and Facebook and YouTube are going to fail. It's because it wasn't the one that was going to happen. It was when the president was going to do it, and he's using the same template, but as a class action that Laura Loomer did. That's why I said she was very important, that she is going to change the face of history. So while everyone was distracted, right, giving you hopium, giving you red digital string, right, that operation was completely obliterated. The liberation of the people, because it was hijacked by self-serving, greedy, disgusting people who honestly do believe in their minds that they were helping America because they're the authority to speak, because they're using other people's coattails. Well, so-and-so came on my show, and so-and-so came on my show, and I know this person, and I know that person. Oh, look at this. And it's like, that's not how you gain authority. If you need somebody else's clout to be important, then you're not that important. That's the end of it. And when you just hatch out of nowhere and you just, I'm this, it's all about titles and tiaras, isn't it? See, this is how they brainwash the people. So while you're going in a million directions, and even really good people fell into these insane rabbit holes, insane. They were creating laws, and they've actually passed one that no one's talking about. And it's extremely important that we do, at least now. I mentioned it a few times, just saying, they're going after this. Sounds like they're a little bit upset. Sounds like they're mitigating. But it wasn't a time to spell it out, because we needed that to be there. Because or else, if it didn't happen, you wouldn't believe it was going to happen. That's the problem. The problem with the conditioning that man has undergone over centuries is that they believe that they have to see it to believe it. There is no faith. Everyone is bad unless they can do what? Pull their pants and show you what color their butthole is? I'm sorry, graphic, but that's how personal they want to be. You know what pisses me off the most? All these people now going on this McAfee spree hated McAfee. They loathed him because he was so in their face. They called him disgusting. Remember the video he did? I think I talked about it, and I don't remember when. And the transcription is a great tool, but it's not perfect. But it was a video that he did where he was pretending that he was having dinner and having children and people. And I don't know if you guys remember that video. I remember all these groups that believe they are authority, that they're the hammers of truth, and that they believe in God, disowned him. And now look at them elevating him. You see, for him, because he's McAfee and has a title, for him, because he's McAfee and openly said, I am coming for each and every one of you at the deep state because you screwed me. Because he's McAfee, him being a bad guy turning into a good guy, because even anybody has a floor of morals, right, is okay. But Bergie, me, or anybody else, it's not okay. Why? Because no one in authority has come out to tell you, see, that is also part of your problem. This is the biggest problem ever. You can find information and videos where they talk shit about him, and now they're elevating him to a God status. That's it. You see, that's where we go. You have to be paying attention to the consistency of their message. You have to see how they go with the waves. I can point out, because I know a lot of people have archived this, and it can ping back and smack you in the face. Oh, yeah, I'm okay with him doing all these atrocities before because he's saving us now. I can't trust you, though, because you work for Brennan. Let me tell you something. Brennan was the highest, lowest piece of fruit I work for. In fact, I wouldn't say that I worked for him. We kind of worked together, but he was the authority for the United States. Ergo, why I call him my boss. That's fact. That is fact. So when people say you worked for him, with him, right, whatever, and we can't trust him, but you can trust the guy who's done all those things, right? But now he's in redemption mode and he's okay. When it's all out there, he's okay. But every other whistleblower that isn't like him because they don't own an antivirus isn't. You see the hypocrisy? Do you see how that works? Do you see how that works? I mean, I always admired John for his tenacity and his, and hey, John, whichever one's listening, genius. I apologize for the chaotic interference, but it was definitely necessary. This has to stop at some point. The lies upon lies, the trying to sequester authority in a narrative, just let the truth go and it'll guide itself. Why do you have to command authority? Why do you have to command the truth? You don't. You definitely don't. See, the truth is so liberating and is so strong that it can stand on its own 2 feet. On its own 2 feet. So when I say I believe in redemption, there are a lot of people out there that have done a lot of bad things. And then it's that epiphany moment where they come back and say, and God opens his arms and says, come, I will create a feast for you because you know. So it's okay for some, but not for others. Some people can redeem themselves and others can't. The sequestering of information, the gatekeeping of information, or trying to create these barriers for information to claim an authority, I believe is the most appalling thing during this time of war. There will be so many casualties because you've interfered, because unknowingly, even though you were looking at this, deifying XYZ, this, right? What you missed was that the other side was right there, tagging along, bolstering you, feeding your ego. So that way you feel that reward you're getting is confirmation that you're doing the right thing. Do you think bad people don't get confirmation that they're doing something right? Yeah, it's called a Rolex, a house, a hot Chinese wife, stuff like that. I don't know. Asian women are hot, so that's why I keep saying that. That's such a stereotype. You're so racist. Totally. But the sequestration of this information and the commanding of authority from smoothie maker to I was on Mars to this to I'm just nobody, I'm just great at decoding. Decoding what? Something that wasn't intended to be decoded by you, of course. These are the things that have caused such a confusion among the US and global population that they're tired of it. They're tired of the attacks. They're tired of wait a minute, do we trust this person? Do we trust that one? This is why I've been saying, just trust your gut, man. Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to sit here and whoop out pictures and my evidence, or if I have any tangible evidence, I may or may not have it in my possession. I don't have to prove shit. You don't like what you hear, you walk away. That's what everyone should be doing. But these are all, they just spur out of freaking nowhere. And they talk from a point of authority. I've got stuff going back years. They've got it from 2018? And boasted up. Well, I do the truth. And, I pray all the time. Yet you're evil. Because what you're doing is evil. You are leading these people astray with the help that you are offering, which is help for not the good guys. Instead of embracing, you suffocate. Instead of releasing truth, you sequester and you confer. Did so-and-so confirm this? Then we can do this. So-and-so confirm. I mean, look how many of them have to decide. Do we all throw Lynn Wood under the bus? Because so-and-so said so, so we must. And oh, look, this is a bona fide person. Like someone was showing me, someone texted me something, showing me Seth. And it's like, dude, I know Seth and I know his sister really well, which I freaking love, by the way. Still have the perfume she gave me, right? And talking about how this is more this, that. It's like, no, stop. You need to stop. You can't have the whole cake. You ate, you got full, now walk away. Step away nicely so that the people can get on with the truth. How can you fight a war that you don't know what it's about? It's like someone telling you, hey, all the Easter bunnies are your enemy, right? But it's not an Easter bunny, it's a squirrel, right? And you're aiming for Easter bunnies while the squirrels are populating like nobody's business and driving around everywhere, confusion, and you're targeting Easter bunnies because that's what they told you to look out for a rabbit with some, eggs in its basket. So you're following that point because all of them have agreed that's the point. Everyone is human and they make mistakes. I get it. I totally get it. But when you consistently do this, it is the biggest atrocity. Like if I was a judge and I had in front of me Nancy Pelosi and one of you, I would give you the hardest penalty I can because you should know better. Pelosi, she already told me who she is. She already told me where she sits. She's already shown me over the years who she is. But you came in, sir or ma'am, popped in, and completely caused casualties. Casualties of inner peace, casualties legit to the definition what a casualty means. That's the biggest problem ever. Those are going to be the ones that are going to be hanging their heads in shame. I remember how much shit I got on Twitter for promoting McAfee from these alleged accounts. Like it was CJ Truth once that said, how could you promote such a guy? And I was like, do you know him? No, but he says, but do you know him? He was like, do you? Ask you the question first. Do you know him? Do you understand him? Do you know what he's telling you? See, these are the things that we need to be paying attention to, the consistency. The consistency. And I'm not talking about Seth Rich, okay? I don't know why people interject and say things that aren't it. Okay. So take a listen to what Google's telling you.
What kind of techniques are used? So Snapchat's the most popular messaging service for teenagers, and they invented this feature called Streaks, which shows the number of days in a row that you've sent a message back and forth with someone. So now you can say, well, what's the big deal here? Well, the problem is that kids feel like, well, now I don't want to lose my streak. But it turns out that kids actually, when they go on vacation, are so stressed about their streak that they actually give their password to like 5 other kids to keep their streaks going on their behalf. And so you could ask, when these features are being designed, are they designed to most help people live their life? Or are they being designed because they're best at hooking people into using the product?
Is Silicon Valley programming apps or are they programming people?
Inadvertently, whether they want to or not, they're shaping the thoughts and feelings